This story is about a thief who gets a taste of his own medicine. Horace Danby can be termed as a thief with a difference. He steals only once in a year. He is fond of books and spends most of his booty or money on buying books. He plans meticulously before attempting a burglary. During his burglary attempt at a big house, he gathers all the necessary informations from the wire, from the alarm system, the time of the going in and out of the servants, and all the details, and enters the house for stealing from the safe. He is cheated by a lady who claims herself to be the owner of the house. Finally, Horace ends up in a prison only to repent at the way he was deceived by a person from his own profession. That is, he was deceived by a lady who herself was a thief. The message, the message of this story is that we should not trust anyone without discovering out about the person, and we should not indulge ourselves into bad things. Suppose if we like to read books, we should purchase it with our hard earned money rather than going for a steal. Everyone thought that Horace Danby was an honest, a good citizen. He was 50 years old and married, and he lived with a housekeeper who worried over his health. In fact, he was usually very happy, well, except for attacks of hay fever in summer. As his profession, he was a lock maker, opened locks, and successful enough at his business to have two helpers. So he was able to afford two helpers with him to run his business. Just Horace Danby was a good and respectful, but not completely honest. So some dishonesty was running in his blood. 15 years ago, Horace had served his first and only sentence in a prison library. He loved rare, expensive books, so he robbed a safe every year. Each year, he planned carefully just what he would do, stole enough to last for 12 months. So, 1 year, he was enough with that cash, and secretly bought books he loved through an agent. Now, walking in bright summer July, he felt sure that this year's robbery was going to be successful as all the others. For 2 weeks, he had been studying the house at Shotover Grange, looking at its rooms, its electric wires, its baths, and its gardens. That afternoon, the two servants who remained in the garage while the family was in London had gone to the movies. Horace saw them go and he felt happy in spite of a little trickle of hay fever in his nose. He came out from behind the garden wall, his tools kept packed in a bag on his back, so he was ready for his go. Now let's study what was he planning to do altogether in the grand safe. There was about £15,000 worth of jewels in the grand safe. If he sold them only one by one, he expected to get at least 5, 20 to 21,000, enough to make him happy for another year. There were three very interesting books coming up for sale in the autumn, so he was planning to buy those books. Now he would get the money he wanted to purchase those books. So all the things he has done to get those books. He had seen the housekeeper hang the key to the kitchen door on a hook outside. He put on a pair of gloves, took the keys, and opened the door. He was always careful not to leave any fingerprints. So he was very professional in his approach. He never left any fingerprints wherever he went for a theft. A small dog was lying in the kitchen. It stirred, made a noise, and moved its tail in a friendly way. So obviously, as a dog, he should have started barking, but this time the dog just wagged his tail, moved a bit, and was very friendly towards him. All right, Sherry, Horace said as he passed. All he had to do is to keep the dog quiet was to call, and that was his approach. That he used, maybe he was aware about the situation, and so he made a friendly approach towards the dog, not to make him perplexed or agitated in his book. So he became friendly with the dog. The safe was in the drawing room behind a rather poor painting. Horace wondered for a moment whether he should collect pictures instead of books, but they took up too much space in the room. in a small house, books were better. So he was thinking that should he start stealing books or purchase? He should start fascinating paintings rather than having books because he was more fascinated with books. But then he thought that no, if he is stealing or if he's going to have books, paintings instead of books, then it will take a lot of space and then that will be a problem for him. So he thought, let's continue with the books, fascination for books. There was a great bowl of flowers on the table, and Horace felt his nose tickle. He gave a sneeze and then put down, arranged his tools. He had 4 hours before the servants returned. So he had calculated his moves. He understood the situation. He said that he just had 4 hours to do whatever he wanted in that house. The safe was not going to be hard to open. So he very well understood that the safe was not difficult to open because he was into the business of breaking locks and he used to repair locks also. So it was not very difficult for him. After all, he had lived with locks and safes all his life. The burglar alarm was poorly built. He went into the hall to cut its wire. So he don't want the alarm to go off or on and he don't want to be disturbed. He came back and sneezed loudly as the smell of flowers came to him again. How foolish people are when they own valuable things, Horace thought. A magazine article had described this house, giving a plan of all the rooms and a picture of this room. The writer had even mentioned that painting hide a safe. Now here is what rich people do. They try to show off a lot. They sometimes show extra bit of things that is not required. But Horace found that the flowers were hindering him in his work. So that was giving a tickle and disturbing him. He buried his face in his handkerchief. Then he heard a voice say from the doorway, "What is it, a cold or a hay fever?" But he could not think. Horace said hay fever and found himself sneezing easy again. So he was getting tickled and disturbed by the flowers and the smell, and he was sneezing. The voice went on. You can cure it with a special treatment. If you find out just what plant gives you the disease, I think you have better see a doctor. If you are serious about your work, I heard you from the top of the house just now. So there's another voice coming up and inquiring about the reason for his sneezing and for his uneasiness. It was a quite kindly voice, but one with firmness in it. So the voice was quite kind, but there was an authority in it. A woman was standing in the doorway, and Sherry was rubbing against her. So that dog was very familiar with the lady. She was a young, quite pretty, and was dressed in red. She walked to the fireplace, straightened the ornaments there. Down, Sherry, so she said to the dog. Anyone would think I had been away for a month. She smiled at Horace and went on. However, I came back just in time. I thought didn't expect to meet a burglar. Now she's very much aware about the situation and she's familiar with the dog also and she talks to Horace that she had been away for a while and she was not expecting a burglar at her home. Horace had some hope because she seemed to be amused at meeting him. He might avoid trouble if he treated her the right way. So he thought that he's not going to tussle or mend with that lady. He replied, I did not expect to meet one of the family. I see what an inconvenience it is for you to meet me. What are you going to do? Now she's coming up with a conversation that you found me here. You were expecting that I should not be here and you will continue with your stealing work. But unfortunately, I'm here and what are you planning to do? My first thought was to run. Now, Horace said that it's better to run away than stay back and have a conversation with this lady. Of course, you can do that. But I would telephone the police and tell them about you. You get out. And now she tells that now she's planning to hand over him to the police. Horace said, I would, of course, cut the telephone wires first and then. I would make sure that you could go nothing for some time. A few hours would be enough. Now the conversation starts on. She looked at him seriously. You are hurt, Horace paused and then said. I think I was trying to frighten you when I said that. You didn't frighten me. And Horace suggested, "It would be nice if you would forget you ever saw me." Now he's telling me that you please forget that you have seen me. I just want to leave. Let me go. The voice was suddenly sharp. "Why should I?" The lady replied, "Why should I allow you to go? You were going to rob me. You were going to rob my home. If I let you go, you're going to steal, and don't want to do that. Society must be protected from men like you." Horace smiled. "I'm not a man who threatens society. I steal only those who have a lot of money. I steal for a very good reason, and I hate the thought of a prison. I just don't want to go to a prison. I've come here to steal, and I'll leave." She laughed and she begged, and he begged, thinking that he had persuaded her. "Look, I have no right to ask you for anything, but I'm desperate. Let me go, and I promise never to do that kind of thing again. I really mean it." Now Horace says that, "Let me go. Don't hand over me to the police. I won't steal again. I promise you that." She was silent, watching him closely. Then she said, "You are really afraid of going to the prince, aren't you?" She came over to him, shaking her head. "I have always liked the wrong kind of people." Now she's coming up with the truth. "Oh, but the theatrical way. That I always liked people with the wrong way." She picked up a silver box from the table and took a cigarette from it, as if she's acting as if she's very familiar with the situation. Horace, eager to please her and seeing that she might help him, took off the gloves and gave her his cigarette lighter. Now she has picked up a cigarette. Now he's lighting the cigarette for her. "You let me go." "Yes, but only if you'll do something for me." Now she's bargaining the situation. "I'll let you go if you do something for me. Anything you say." "Before we left for London, I promised my husband to take my jewels to our bank, but I left them here in the safe. I want to wear them to a party tonight, so I came down to get them." But now she's telling Horace that she wanted to leave to London, but she forgot her jewelry in the safe, and she have to wear these jewelry at the party tonight. So you have to do something for her. "You've forgotten the numbers to open the safe, haven't you?" That's what Horace is asking. "You've forgotten the number that with which you're going to open the safe?" "Yes." "Just leave it to me. You'll have them within an hour, but I'll have to break your safe." "Don't worry about that." That's what the lady told him. "My husband won't be here for a month. I'll have the safe mended by that time." So she's telling him that, "I have forgotten the number of the safe to open to have the jewelry. So you please open the safe for me, and don't worry and don't bother that if the safe is broken, I'll get it repaired, because my husband will turn back only after 1 month." And within an hour, Horace had opened the safe, given the jewelry to the lady, and gone happily away. For 2 days he kept his promise to the kind young lady. On the morning of the third day, however, he thought of the books he wanted, and he knew he would have to look for another safe. But he never got the chance to begin his plan. So he was planning to purchase a book, but the only thing was he was short of money. So he thought of having another theft, to burgle another house, and he thought that he has to break the promise that he has given to that lady. By noon, police had arrested him for the jewel robbery as shot over a crime. His fingerprints, for he had opened the safe without gloves, were all over the room, and no one believed him when he said that the wife of the owner of the house had asked him to open the safe for her. Now, this is very surprising. He was tricked into doing that. The lady who was there at the time when he reached that house, shot over Grant, she pretended that she was the wife of that owner of the house, but in fact she was not. She herself was a thief, a burglar who had come to do burglary in that house. The wife herself, a gray-haired, sharp-tongued woman of 60, said that story was nonsense. The real wife who was there, she said that it's absolutely wrong. I am the real wife who was here, and nobody else could be another wife here. Horace is now the assistant librarian in the prison. So he got another place in the prison. Now he's in the prison. He's taken to the prison. He's prisoned. He often thinks of the charming, clever young lady who was in the same prison profession as he was and who tricked him. So it was very surprising and it was very take for a ride that lady tricked him. She acted as if she is the owner, she's the owner's wife, and she wanted to open the safe. It was very tricky. He had been fooled by that lady, by that pretty lady. He gets very angry when someone asks about honor among thieves. So this was when someone talks to him that there should be some prestige, some honor, some ethics, then he gets very angry because another thief has tricked him. So he's very upset. Now here are the chapter highlights starting from the beginning where Horace ran a business, and the complete gist of story is there in the highlights.